Claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
It's time to steer the line.
Touchdown!
Sports betting, fantasy football, and the latest NFL news. Featuring Loud Esmond, Christian Giordani, Rocky Giordani, and Jeremy James. Bet on us to make you a better.
What?
Let's get ready to steer the line.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to another segment of Steer the Line. I'm your host, Christian Giordani. I'm here with Mr. Jeremy James. No Loud, no Rocky today. No Loud, no Rocky.
Well, we know where Loud is. He's taking in a ball game with his boy, right?
Yeah.
Rocky's still MIA.
He's MIA.
Is he still part of this show? Is he ever coming back to us?
You know what? You're asking me, brother. A lot of news today in the NFL. A lot of news. Tom Brady is looking to acquire a minority stake in the Raiders. I know you're a Raiders fan. Jeremy, what's your thoughts and opinion on this?
You know, it's funny. As that came out today, a lot of people, Raider fans on Twitter, losing their minds, it seems, about this whole idea. You know, I don't care. I don't hate. Tom Brady's retired now. It's fine. I don't have any reason to dislike the guy anymore. I don't have to see my team lose to him. I don't have to watch him win another Super Bowl. If he wants to bring his knowledge and his winning ways and his money to Raider Nation, I welcome him with open arms.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a great thing for you guys. You know, he's arguably one of the richest athletes in the world. He has the stakes and, you know, all the stuff to know to help this team progress and win. So I think it's a good move for the Raiders if they get this guy in as a head office or even just a minority owner. You know, he'll change the culture in Las Vegas.
And he'll have a chance to be one of the additional new faces of the franchise. You know, no one likes looking at Mark Davis anyway. So, you know, you send out your presidents, you know, the attractive lady who's president of the whole thing, and then you send out Tom Brady, who everybody knows in the world, and you know, you got a better look for the face of the franchise for Raider Nation.
Yeah, and you know what? I've been seeing a lot of things. It's not going to happen, but Raiders fans are going crazy. This is just a ploy for him to get back in the NFL game, stay away from his kids, to go in and find another way to play football again, which I think is hilarious. And I'm a little too sad to see Tom Brady retire this early in his career, even though he's 50 years old.
Too early in his career. The guy's been playing for how many years now?
Before I was born.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been playing forever. I can understand it though. I mean, he's been a player your entire life, so to be familiar with someone like that who played that long, you know, even when I was younger, there was no one that was playing from the day I was born until the day I really got old enough to enjoy the game. No one had that long of a career back then, so I can understand that'd be a little different for you and anybody your age.
It is
weird.
Him
go is it's like, wait, what's the NFL without Tom Brady? I thought so I get it, but it's still only May. July rolls around, he's going to get the itch. I don't know if he'll do anything about it, but he's going to get the itch.
I really hope so. Aside from that, a team that wanted to acquire Tom Brady is making trade talks for another quarterback they have. Trey Lance is now officially in trade talks with other teams. The number one destination for him right now is the Minnesota Vikings, and they're willing to give up a first and a third for him, which I think seems like a pretty good deal for them. What do you think about it?
I know there's been rumblings. I hadn't heard anything specific yet, so that's an interesting one. I know the Vikings, probably going to be moving on from Kirk Cousins. I think his contract is up at the end of this season, I believe, and they're probably looking to go younger, depending on but they played well though. I mean, they won a lot of games last year, until they hit the playoffs and they struggled a bit, but he got them through. So he's not losing his touch or anything. I think maybe not a bad idea if they want to have someone younger behind him, but I understand why they would want a first and a third, because of what they gave up to get the kid, but he's not done anything in 2 years or been on the field or healthy or played well enough for me, if I'm a team, to give up a first round pick for him.
He's played 4 games in his entire career.
And they weren't impressive.
No, they
enough to be
weren't.
like, you know what? Yeah, here's a first and a third. No, you want to talk maybe a 2 and a 4 or 2 and a 3, but I'm not giving up my number one for Trey Lance, no matter what
Yeah.
team I am.
Only I believe 23, 24 years old, young kid, real mobile quarterback. It's just, yeah, it's a lot missing from him. You don't know what his health's going to be in the next few years. You don't know if he's going to stay committed. The only thing, and he's on a bigger rookie contract than most guys, being up at top 3 pick, I believe.
Yeah, I think he will. Yeah, he was like number 3 or something like
So
that.
that's a lot of salary cap you're going to be eating as well. So I wouldn't be taking on a first round pick for Trey Lance either. He has the promise, but he hasn't shown it yet.
Yeah, it's a lot to give up. But I mean, if you can get a little less and bring him in, you get a deal. And if you're the Niners, I saw what I think it was the GM says that he feels like he's got 3 starting caliber quarterbacks on his team. And if you really believe that, and you can still get like a 2 and a 3 for the guy, be happy with what you can get. You're not going to use all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So take what you can get and build around the guys you keep.
I think this is a great W for San Francisco because everyone knows I'm a big Brock Purdy fan. I think he's the future of San Francisco. I think he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the next few years. And there's a lot of talks about Trey Lance being the number 1 guy this offseason going in. And now it looks like it's switched around. And I'm very happy for San Francisco, even though they're my terrible rivals.
Yeah, but the signs are there. Things like trade talks and little things like that have been coming out. The signs are there that they may not be willing to go with Trey Lance to start the season, whether he's healthy or not. I think if he's healthy and Purdy isn't, there's a legit chance that Sam Darnold could win the starting job until Purdy comes back.
I completely agree. And a lot of people talk bad on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had a pretty good start to his career, and he's just in a run-first offense in Carolina.
Yeah, we've seen that we've seen flashes of this kid and what he can do. Now he's with a guy who knows how to teach quarterbacks, knows how to run his offense and his team to the strength of his quarterbacks. So Sam Darnold's could be in a good spot.
For whatever games he plays this year, he is going to light it up. He's on a 1-year deal. Yeah. So he's definitely going to light it up and look for a bigger contract in the offseason. Moving on, Zadarius Smith was just traded to the Browns less than 20 minutes ago.
I saw that. Did you see what I don't know what the Browns gave up?
They haven't said what they've given up to give him. But it looks like a great trade for the Browns. It keeps them mediocre.
I think it's a great move. It's big. I'm surprised that they couldn't get a contract done in Minnesota with Zadarius Smith. The guy, is one of the top, 10 edge rushers in the NFL, I think. And you put him now in Cleveland on the other side of Myles Garrett. There's nothing mediocre about that defensive line in Cleveland. I'll tell you that. The team overall, we'll see what they do, but yeah,
that defense is defensive line, one of the best.
Yeah, if one doesn't get you, the other one's gonna. So that's a scary combo in Cleveland, and a big move for them. Depending on what they gave up, because they've given up a lot to bring people in here recently.
Because aside from Joe Burrow and the Bengals, the AFC North is kind of up for grabs. The Steelers and the Ravens, they're not as what they used to be. If the Bengals have a hiccup year, that whole division would be up for grabs.
Well, yeah, the Ravens, they're still going to be good. They're going to be solid. They're going to be able to play those division games are so tough in that North there. They play each other hard. But if Lamar's healthy and he's playing well, he's got more weapons now than he's ever had. I think it could be interesting. Pittsburgh, I like the moves they made. I think they had a really solid draft, a good draft actually. And my only problem with them maybe is will Pickett, take a step forward in year 2.
I think I do think he takes that leap.
Yeah, because he looked pretty. I mean, he didn't play bad, but pretty average. He didn't look like anything special. He, especially some of the guys that have been drafted the last few years, how dynamic they are and athletic. Pickett, he looked fine. So let's see if he can get from fine to maybe good in year 2. And Pittsburgh could also be tough.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is tough. Moving on, we have Dan Snyder finally sold the Commanders to the owner of the Philadelphia Sixers, Josh Harris, for a staggering $6.05 billion.
I saw a week or two ago that was going through. Is that like official now?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
official.
okay?
They just ended it about an hour ago.
Fantastic move for the Washington Commanders and everyone who had to work with Dan Snyder all those years. Great for the entire team, top to bottom. His staff, everyone in the office, I'm sure is glad that Dan Snyder's
Yeah,
gone, and great for the NFL and for the
yeah,
city of Washington D.C. That was not a good guy. He was a black eye on that whole city, that franchise. I'm glad to see him gone.
yeah.
I don't know much about this new guy, but if he's already a professional sports,
Owner,
owner,
yeah.
then hopefully he can come in and do some work on Washington and get them just as competitive as the rest of those teams in that division.
As far as I know from Josh Harris, he kind of once he came into Philadelphia, I believe back in 2012, he kind of changed that whole culture and he started that trust the process movement with Embiid and Simmons, and now they're one game away from going to the conference finals. So I'm very excited to see what he does with Washington. I would love to see Washington competing again. I
Yeah.
missed when Alex Smith was there. Sean Taylor was great over there.
Yeah, the thing is, what's weird about the Commanders is they have some pieces there, on both sides of the ball. It's just they can't seem to bring it together. And I think part of the problem is they haven't been able to find a quarterback. Ever since they drafted what was his name? The same year they drafted Kirk Cousins, the guy who he's now
Oh,
he was so famous and
Jesus.
popular, and everyone,
Yeah.
now he's an announcer on the NFL Network and stuff. I can't think of his name, but ever since they brought him in and he did not become the guy for them, they've struggled at quarterback in Washington. And
Yeah.
I know they're going young again this year. Let's see if it works out for them. So it could be an interesting year in Washington, but good for them that they're no longer associated with Dan Snyder.
Yeah, and Dan Snyder was asking way too much than what he got for. He was asking anywhere near from $22 billion for the team.
Yeah, that's insanity.
It's absurd. And
Their teams they're going up, but they're not worth that yet. I'm sorry.
now Dan Snyder's reportedly, now that he sold the team, he's lobbying the NFL to limit the sexual misconduct release report. So he wants them to hold back on the report now that he sold the team. He's no longer affiliated with them. So to him, there's no need for him to be there, for that report to be out.
For everyone you ever harassed and anyone who they might not want to see that report.
Yeah.
Sorry, you don't get to do the dirty and then just walk away from it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, this is a betting show, and as Mr. Loud Esmond would say, here's some picks for the USFL and the XFL, but I don't do that here. So we got some NBA picks coming up. The playoffs are going. It's going crazy. I know you're not that big of a basketball fan, Jeremy.
Really not much at all anymore. Yeah, growing up, basketball was different in my era. It was, at least to me, and I had some, the biggest stars in the world. Like I grew up watching Jordan and Patrick Ewing and Reggie Miller and, Spud Webb and those kind of guys, and, Charles Barkley. So as a kid, it was fun. And then I just kind of,
grew
fell out
of
of the sport. And then once Kobe retired, I just quit watching the Lakers too.
Kobe was my favorite, man.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we're actually talking about the Lakers right now. The Warriors head out to Los Angeles in the Crypto.com arena. And the Warriors are 3.5 point underdogs. And everyone knows the meme and the legend of Game 6 Clay. And he's coming up. And his past 7 Game 6s, he's only had one game where he scored under 30 points in his career. So I expect for him to have a big game. The line for him scoring is 21.5 points as the over-under. Bet over on him. He's definitely going to cover this game, in my opinion. The Warriors. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was trying to say the Lakers have some injuries, right? Going into this game?
Yes, AD is questionable going into this game.
Okay.
He's cleared to play.
He was the one that was hauled off in the wheelchair the other night, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Someone on the team was.
If AD stayed healthy, these guys would be 3-peat champs, in my opinion. And I despise the Lakers. I'm a LA Clippers fan. from the bottom of my heart. Lob City, man. I grew up on that Lob City. Blake
Oh, all
Griffin,
right.
CP3.
Man.
But yeah, Anthony Davis has been the deciding factor in this series. And when he's played and has been healthy, he's been a dominant beast. He's been averaging 4.5 blocks this series, 14 rebounds, 35 points a game. This guy has been a beast. And since he's got injured, the Warriors have kind of sunk their teeth into the Lakers. They won Game 5, and they need to win Game 6 to bring this series back to Golden State in 7. And you know what? I'm putting the bet in right now. Warriors win the division and come back 3-1. I am a true believer in that history repeats itself in poetic ways, especially in sports. And back in 2018, everyone knows the LeBron-led Cavaliers came back 3-1 against the Warriors. So I think Steph Curry gets his Knicks right back.
Don't bet your hatred or your heart, man. So there you go. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, when it comes to basketball, I don't know enough anymore. I see what's on the news once in a while.
Yeah, and then we have the I believe that's the last game. No, the Celtics and Sixers go in. I believe the Sixers are a favorite for this game. I completely have them in. Joel Embiid has a reputation of not being that good of a player in the playoffs, including with James Harden. But Tobias Harris, again, is one of the best Game 7 players in statistical history. His numbers aren't going to jump out and scare you, but this guy knows how to play ball. He averages 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists per game in Game 7s in his short playoff career. But I really do think the Sixers advance, and that's all I got for basketball right now. Any news for you, Jeremy?
The basketball world, no, but I am looking at this, and we should talk about it because we covered the XFL all season long. This Saturday is the XFL championship game in San Antonio, the Arlington Renegades and the DC Defenders. I'm disappointed that none of the teams I actually really like made it into this one, but I'll probably watch the game because, like I said, I followed it all season long. I'd like to see how the XFL presents their championship game. I really liked their presentation all year long. I thought it was a lot of fun. And so, seeing their championship game in this redone XFL, I'm definitely curious to see. And I'm trying to see if I can find some odds on the game.
DC are 6.5-point favorites.
Oh, there you go. You type faster than I. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so should be an entertaining game. I would have been a lot more excited if St. Louis had made it in, or if Seattle had made it into the championship game, but still should be a good watch. Two really good teams, and hey, it's XFL championship. Why not watch a championship game on a Saturday when you're doing nothing else?
All right, so we're gonna play a little bit over under right here. We have the NFL MVP odds coming up that were just posted earlier today by NBC Sports, and right now the favorite to win MVP is Patrick Mahomes plus 650. Obvious take. I think Patrick Mahomes could win another MVP. Do I think he will? Voter fatigue is a real thing. I can't see him winning 2 straight.
Yeah, he'd have to have an exceptional year again, and and it's not out of the realm of it happening. I mean, he'll have a really good chance and probably will win at least another MVP before his career is over, if not multiple. But I can understand the odds being good for him heading into the season. With when you're heading in basing everything on what happened last year, really, it's really the only way to go. It's hard to foretell who's gonna have that big year this season.
Yep, and right behind him we have Mr., in my opinion, poser Josh Allen.
Yeah. You're like loud in his hatred for Aaron Rodgers.
I don't hate Josh Allen, man. It's just I hated all the hype coming in this season that he's the best quarterback. We had a lot of guys like Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes getting talked down that they're not on Josh Allen's level, and Josh Allen has had a tendency now to implode in the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, he hasn't gotten him there.
Especially in his own home stadium. You can't throw 3 picks in a must-win game in your own home stadium. After that, we got Joe Burrow for the Cincinnati Bengals at plus 700 again. I love this pick. I think this is my favorite to win the NFL MVP.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have another phenomenal season, and they got some big games coming up. The Bengals, I believe, play the Chiefs week 17
Yes.
this year, so that could be one of those games where it's either they're both playing for something big or they both have already wrapped things up. So it's kind of a weird spot to put that game, 2 weeks before the playoffs, because we know they're both headed that way. I hope something's on the line so they're both playing each other.
Number one seed. I think it's going to be a big
game.
Which
very well could be. There could be multiple teams in for that number one seed 2 or 3 weeks out from playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow's going to go off. He's on a contract year. He's expected to get that super max extension for $270 million. Right after Joe Burrow, we have Jalen Hurts at plus 800 for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. Sorry, go ahead.
Who's the first non-quarterback? And what are their odds? How far are you? I got to go all the way down.
I don't know.
Are there any non-quarterbacks?
Justin Jefferson at plus 9,000.
He's the first non-quarterback?
He's as far as I can find. Above him is Ryan Tannehill, Sam Darnold, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mac Jones, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Kenny Pickett, Jordan Love, Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields, and Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa, Aaron Rodgers. Another pick I love, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts.
Wow. So they just listed all 32 quarterbacks first as a possibility to win MVP and then got into other players.
Yeah. Behind Jefferson goes Jefferson, Sam Howell, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Desmond Ritter, right?
Desmond Ritter, yeah. And, so there are a few quarterbacks behind
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, wow. That's funny. That is funny to me. Not that some of the other top offensive or defensive players.
Yeah, there's about 20 guys above him. A guy who I would assume to be on that list, Micah Parsons or Aaron Donald, one of the best defensive guys. It's been a long time since we've seen a defensive guy win an MVP. I'm surprised we don't see a running back either. No Derrick Henry, no Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, that's the thing. Those guys these days, they can put up 2,000 yards and score 20 touchdowns, and it's still going to go to a quarterback.
Yeah. It is a quarterback win.
It is. Yeah, a running back would have to legitimately old school style throw the whole team on his back.
Carry him.
The way like Jim Brown used to do,
Who was the last one that wasn't quarterback? It was Adrian Peterson, right?
Was he the last quarterback to
non-quarterback, yeah. I believe so.
Really?
That long?
That was a long time ago.
That's almost 30 years ago.
I think you're right, though. I can't think of any other, because every year it's like, will it be a non-quarterback? Will it be another position? No, it won't. No. And we know that. But yeah, the last running back was Adrian Peterson. And again, he had 2,200 yards that year or so, or close to it.
He had 22. Yeah. I think, did he get the record that year?
I don't know if he got the record. I think it was really close though.
Yeah.
But
you know what? If Cooper Kupp didn't win the MVP 2 years ago after putting up that phenomenal season, I don't think a non-quarterback ever will ever again.
Yeah, because everyone's always impressed, and they might win Offensive Player of the Year or something like that. But when it comes to MVP, it's always the quarterback. That's the top position. They're the leader. They take all the scrutiny. So when they play well, they're going to get all the glory. So yeah, I understand, but it would just be a lot more, interesting and fun if it wasn't always,
a quarterback,
one of the top 5 quarterbacks that season or something. If somebody has had a legit shot.
I'm glad you brought that up, because in the past 15 years, 3 players have won the MVP the most, and that is Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers, and they won over 70% of the NFL MVPs in the past 15 years.
Wow, that
insane. Just shows dominance in quarterbacks and MVP. We're almost about to wrap up the show. There's one more thing I do want to bring up. Kyler Murray is in deep trade talks now for the Arizona Cardinals.
I saw a little something earlier today about that possibility. A couple of teams maybe talking about bringing him in. Depending on what happens this season, I think they're going to let him come back and play and see what happens. But by next year, yeah, he could be out in Arizona. And I'm kind of surprised that what's the wide receiver? I don't know why his
D-Hop.
name. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised D Hop's still there right now. With this situation going on, I think they're going to need to blow everything up and do a full rebuild after next season in Arizona.
You know what? Just because I'm a Rams fan, I'm devoted to being a Kyler Murray hater. But
Understandable.
he played great his second year. I can't deny that he was a All-Pro first team, I believe. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. But after all the drama that happened in the offseason when he wanted to get that massive contract,
1 minute.
he just hasn't been the same. He hasn't been that guy who you can trust to lead the team on a game-winning drive, or even trust to go downfield. Sometimes he's very mobile, but the problem is he's small and he has that small guy mentality on the field.
Absolutely. Just a reminder before we do go, if anyone happened to not know that the NFL schedule was released yesterday, you can go check out where your team's playing. I think you can start getting tickets already, all the Monday night games, the holiday games. There's a Black Friday game this year. I thought that was interesting.
Huh.
And I'm
I
surprised.
think I saw that.
And I'm surprised the Raiders actually got 5 prime time games this year as well. So
Jimmy G is probably going to be that guy. All right, everyone. This is Steer Line, and you can bet that you'll see us again next week.
Good one. I like it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Catch y'all next week.